No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Ooh, the gym. Old stomping grounds. Hank Patterson, fly fishing guide.
Riley Smith, tight end.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Hey, you wouldn't happen to be the kicker?
No, tight end.
Again, thank you. I'm looking for a kicker for Lithia Ford's fall kickoff sale. But you're not the kicker.
No.
Yeah. Nah, the kicker's probably taller and in a lot better shape. So, okay. What position do you play?
Tight end.
Squats. Yeah. Try it sometime.
RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, is going all in this season with an all-star lineup. First up, he led the Broncos to 3 conference championships and 10 20-win seasons. It's Coach Leon Rice. Next, he's the founder and CEO of RowPaint.com. He played a little basketball in high school on the driveway with his mom. It's Andy Rowe.
Oh, no. Want to just paint my house?
Now that I can do. When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust RowPaint.com to get that job done right.
Welcome to the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show from Bronco Nation News, as we get you set for the latest news, insight, and analysis as game time approaches. The BNN pregame show is presented by Lithia Ford of Boise. Check out LithiaFordBoise.com to view the full inventory of vehicles, or check them out at 8853 West Fairview in Boise. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Now, let's head out and join BJ Rains for the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show from Bronco Nation News.
Greetings, Boise State fans, and welcome back to ExtraMile Arena. Boise State basketball, the Broncos back at home tonight. This evening, late afternoon, whatever you want to call it, Abe Jackson, a rare kind of 5:30 tip-off here for Boise State as they look to get back on track. Tough week on the road last week. They got got the bye, got a couple extra days off, and recharge for the stretch run.
Yeah, needed. I mean, they kind of drew the short straw this year where they got their first bye before the first game in conference, where you don't really need a bye. You're jacked to be playing the first conference game. So it's really like the entire conference season with just one bye, and the Broncos just had it. And I think it was needed coming off 2 really physical games against Colorado State and Utah State.
I know it was a while ago. But both those games, they gave up over 50% shooting. They didn't shoot particularly themselves, very well. I mean, do you just chalk those up as playing 2 good teams on the road? Was there anything that concerned you from those 2?
Well, I think that, the Broncos have played very well on the road, and they've gotten some big wins, especially at New Mexico. But you're hearing it across the country from anyone who talks about college basketball about how good the Mountain West is this year. And so you really can't expect the Broncos to keep shooting over 50% and holding opponents to the low 40s when they're playing on the road. So I think it was a combination of it's a really good conference. You played 2 of the better teams on their home courts. And it'd been a long time since you'd had any days off. They played so many games in a short amount of time, and both Colorado State and Utah State have great environments to play in and are physical teams. And I think you can just kind of see that the bye was needed.
3 days off. They gave the team 3 days off, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then got back at it the last couple of days. what do you make of the bye week and what changes or differences or just energy level we'll see the team come out with today?
I don't know if there's really any changes that are going to be made at this point in the season. Teams kind of are what they are at this point, but rest is always good. I mean, the teams that are at the end in really any sport where there's a long season are the teams that can stay the healthiest the longest. And so when you have a bye at this time of the year, it really helps you recharge, maybe get taken care of one of those nagging little injuries that just keeps flaring up with those 3 days off.
How do you teams approach it differently, but they take the 3 days and just mentally get away from it, not even practice? Is that almost sometimes better than getting back on the court and working on certain things?
Yeah, I think it depends on the player, too. I mean, there's some players who just don't want to leave the court, who want to be out there all the time. And then there's some that just say, I need 48 hours away from all basketball. I'll come in and do the therapy or the training needs I need on some of my body parts, but I'm just going to step away. So I'm sure there were guys that still got up shots. You're not going to not go in the gym and get up shots, but in terms of maybe going through practice and drills, I don't really know if there was a lot on those bye days.
What's this stretch run here? You obviously have this next 4-game stretch where I guess we'll start with the first 2 home games. Your big favorites, I think the spread's like 16 or something today. And obviously the other teams are all kind of beating up each other. And we talked about this. This was going to be hopefully the 2-week stretch here where they make some hay in the standings and you look back up and they're in first place. Obviously the final 3 games are not going to be easy, but how important is it to these games are almost scarier when you're at home. You got to take care of business. You got to avoid the bad loss. How important is this next 4-game stretch here?
These are almost more important than winning at a Colorado State or Utah State when it comes to standings, because you lose those games, you don't drop very much because they're favored. You're on their home court. They're quad 1 games. But these are not going to be quad 1 games, especially the ones that you have at home. So you lose these and you really drop in those national standings. But the good thing, too, is that there's a stretch of 4 games here that if the Broncos can sweep these, and they'll be favored in every single game, they are going to be at least in a tie for first place. I mean, Colorado State
They're
now.
going to be in a tie in an hour.
I know. Colorado State right now is up on Utah State. Last I saw was about 13
They're
points.
Up 17 at the half.
Okay,
Yep.
17 at the half. But you win these 4 games, you might be alone in first place because no one in the conference is going to have as easy a schedule on paper as you do for these next 4 games.
You mentioned it being more important, and that makes them a little scarier too. And the Wyoming game's going to be a little tough. We'll talk about that next week. But this team in general, just down the stretch here, these final 7 games, if we look up in 3 weeks and they go 6-1 in this final stretch, what do you think is going to be important for them? What do you want to see them do well here down the stretch?
6-1. I would sign right now for a 6-1 as long as you
win the next 6.
As long as you give me these first 4 here. Okay. It's not one of the losses, but
all right.
If they go 6-1, I think they're regular season champs. Okay. I think so. 5 was the number that Bob and I talked about at the beginning of the season, and it's looking like that with Utah State going to probably lose to Colorado State, a bunch of teams with 4 losses in first place. So 5 losses, I think, could get it done at least for a share of first place. So you go 6-1, and you got into the NCAA tournament, and you probably have a regular season championship.
But how do they get to 5-2, 6-1? What do you want to see them? What do they need to kind of really focus on here down the stretch?
Well, they need to shoot better. The last 2 games, they did not shoot the ball very well. 39% and 41% in the 2 games, and so in their 2 losses, they average shooting 40% and giving up a lot more than that. And then also not getting down so early. It's so hard to come back against a quality team. Both Colorado State and Utah State games, they were down, seemed 8 to 11 points the entire game. Yep. And you cut it to 6, and then all of a sudden something happens, it goes to 9.
Yep.
And so it's just getting in that early hole is really tough. So I think, coming out strong tonight, coming off of a bye, I don't think the coaches are worried about coming off of a bye, but it is just something that's out of the ordinary routine where you're used to game Tuesday, game Saturday, game Wednesday, game Saturday. But now you have a bye, so it's probably something that they think about. But we've talked about this before, BJ. This is a veteran team, a veteran coaching staff. I don't think there's anything as like a trap game. I think they're going to come out with some renewed energy, and you're on your home court after 2 games away. I like this game.
I would say in this team in general, we've seen at different times, different guys have big games, but it doesn't seem like everybody's been clicking at the same time yet, especially the big 3 or 4. It seems like if you're looking for reasons for optimism or encouraging down times, every time, Max has his 35, well, now Buzo has 12 points in his last 2 games. It just seems like they can't get everybody going, and if they could do that down the stretch here, this team would seem to be hard to beat.
Oh, you'd be the best team in the league if you could do that, but I think maybe every team in the league might be the best team in the league if you have your best players playing their best game on a night. San Diego State would be the best, Colorado State, you could go down the top 6. If your best players play their best game on the same night, you could beat anybody close in the country with this team. but there's only a limited amount of shots in a game, right? And so you have guys who can go off for 20 in Degenhart, in Buzo, Stanley, and Rice. And so when one of them has a hot hand, you're probably going to keep feeding them until maybe they cool off. And so it's really hard to have 15, 15, 18, and 22 from your top 4 guys because there's just a limited amount of shots. And if someone's going, you got to keep feeding them.
Any concern with Buzo lately? It seems like he really was a little hesitant to shoot in that Utah State game, had some open shots or shots that were used to him letting it fly. And I thought he was, for whatever reason, a little hesitant the last 2 games. And as I said, that was only the 3rd game all season against Utah State where he didn't make a 3.
I saw the hesitancy as well on some of those shots, but am I worried? Not one bit. I think Buzo has shown that he can be a player. He, ups and downs. Jump shooter, that's the life of a jump shooter, right? You got ups and you got downs. And he's been a little off the last couple games, but I just think that means he's due for a big game because if you're a shooter, you just got to keep pulling, and I think he'll get some open looks tonight.
Okay, last time they played in Fresno, Boise State was up 16, pretty much in control, let them come all the way back, and they actually took the lead, I believe, and it took a Chibuzo Abo three-pointer from the corner to give them the lead. They hung on 1 by 4. They're depleted. They're down some guys. I don't even see a lot of their big guys even out there warming up right now.
Both of their big guys are out.
They are.
I think one with a foot and one with a knee, I believe. And then also their guard, Yap, who's a really good scorer,
they only
is
finished
out.
with 6 scholarship players in the last game. Looks like that might be what they
have 9 guys warming up, and a couple of them are either not a red shirt, but probably walk-ons that don't get much
so
play.
What do you make from the last game against Fresno and then this game today?
Well, I think you're going to see a lot of zone from Fresno, especially with the depleted size that they have, is to not try and get those one-on-one matchups with their small guys inside. But the zone's also what got them back in the game against Boise State. They threw that zone on the Broncos with about 6 or 8 minutes left in the game, and all of a sudden the pace just got in a huge slog, and the Broncos couldn't move the ball. So I know that Fresno's probably going to be playing a zone, but I also know that the Broncos for sure worked on that too.
And Calamario had 30 points, though, against UNLV.
Did. I mean, they took UNLV. How about UNLV? You talk about a team that didn't get any run or anything or any people really talking about them at the beginning of the season, and they got 4 losses. They're sitting there at 7-4 just about with everybody else in the conference.
About 15 minutes, you'll hear Abe and Bob over on 670 KBOI coming up with the pregame show. So it sounds like final thing, you're not too worried about this one.
I'm not too worried about it, no. I like that they had a bye. I like that this team is a mentally strong team with a bunch of veterans. They come off 2 losses, so just a perfect time to put a great game together.
Abe, appreciate it. We'll hear you and Bob in 15 minutes. We got Rich Waltz coming on, a lot of great stuff to get to. We're back here in 90 seconds on Bronco Nation News.
All Bronco Nation News broadcasts come from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of premix premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Spirits, perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Our title sponsor is rowpaint.com. For all your commercial, industrial, residential painting needs, check out rowpaint.com. Don't forget about their concrete coatings. Transform that ugly concrete slab on your back patio in your garage in just one day. Contact rowpaint.com for a free estimate today. The official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, and our title sponsor at Bronco Nation News is rowpaint.com. Idaho Central Credit Union's been helping members achieve financial success for more than 80 years. There's an ICCU branch on almost every corner, but the closest is in your pocket with free eBranch mobile and online banking. See why more than 500,000 members love ICCU and join 1 in 4 Idahoans by making the switch today at ICCU.com. Since 1984, Ridley's Family Markets has prided itself on being a hometown food and drug store that employed value members of the local community. Ridley's Family Markets has 13 locations in the state of Idaho and many more in the surrounding states. Download the new Ridley's app to your smartphone, get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line, and find a location near you at shopridleys.com. Former Bronco Matt Bauscher is once again the number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. No home is too big or too small for Matt and his team. Let them fulfill all your real estate needs at BauscherRealEstate.com.
All right, back here live on the Lithia Florida Boise pregame show. Rich Waltz getting ready to join us. He's going to be on the call for CBS Sports Network. Play-by-play man. We appreciate him for jumping on here in just a minute to join us. Get your score predictions in. Get your thoughts in. Let us know what you think about this one. Abe Jackson doesn't seem to be worried. Are you worried about this one? Let us know. Boise State, Fresno State, the spread is about 16 points for this one. And Boise State looking to stay on track here for the final 4 games of the stretch here that should be winnable games for Boise State, you'd think. Fresno, San Jose at home. Then you go on the road, and obviously you got Wyoming and Air Force. But this is the time in the schedule you got to take advantage. And at last check, it was a 17-point halftime lead for Utah State and Colorado State. The Rams winning that one. We bring in our man, Rich Waltz. Rich, we appreciate you as always.
Look at you. Every time I come on, you get more toys.
Abe Jackson.
Everything looks more professional.
We fool them pretty good. Yeah, you came on to one of our very first ever pregame shows where the mic didn't even work and we had a lot of issues. We have upgraded the equipment a little bit, but how you doing, man?
I'm good. It's been a fun basketball season so far. I've been in a lot of different conferences, seen some really good teams. Saw your Kansas Jayhawks on the road at Indiana in December.
That's right.
It's my first look at Boise State, though I've watched them on television. So this is a great look. The Mountain West is crazy good right now. I mean, it's just so much fun. Everybody beats everybody, anybody. Even Wyoming is a dangerous team, especially at their place. Fresno State's banged up, but still. And UNLV on any given night looks like the best team in the league. So this is the next 2 weeks in the tournament in Las Vegas are going to be great.
You were just doing a Big East game or something, right?
I did. I had UConn on Wednesday, and they beat the daylights out of Marquette today.
That's right.
And that's not a surprise. I watched their practice and shoot-around. It's the best shoot-around I've seen in about 2 or 3 years.
Really?
I mean, just in energy, execution, what they accomplished in like an hour and 15 minutes. So it's no surprise that they're the best team in the country right now.
Hunter's got a question for you, Rich, in the YouTube chat. He wants to know if you enjoy calling basketball or football games more.
You know,
say baseball.
I know. So look, in high school, I was a point guard started for 3 years in Martinez, California, Alhambra High School. I was a wide receiver on the football team, and I was a shortstop on the baseball team. I played college baseball after that. So I like all the sports. When I get to the end of basketball, I start itching for baseball. When I get to the dog days of baseball, I can't wait for football. And when I get to like November, man, I can't wait for basketball.
You got any baseball lined up this year?
I do.
MLB Network. You were doing some different stuff.
I was. I had some of the Apple Fridays, the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
I do. I can't talk about it, but
okay.
I'll be doing something.
Good for you. All right.
I'll be doing something.
Then let me know. All right. I'm good. That's good. Always
okay.
enjoy.
I don't
those
know.
Are the best.
Hopefully,
Marlins
I'll get
game.
your Cardinals. Right.
That would be. It's going to be an interesting year for the Cardinals for sure. But your call of the Marlins game. We're getting off topic here. After with D. Gordon batting left-handed, hitting the home run.
Yes.
After Fernandez had passed away,
that's a game I've not watched.
Oh man!
Because of the layers and layers of sorrow and all of that.
That was one of your greatest calls, I would say, of when that happened. That moment that was awesome.
Well, and the best part of it, and it's a wise move by me because you just shut up and. Right, I mean,
unlike Tony Romo in the, I guess you're with CBS.
Well, that's a great example. Look, in that moment, obviously he's up there wearing Jose's helmet and bat from the right side. Took a pitch from Bartolo Colon, and he hadn't hit a homer the whole season. Hits one out, and you call the home run, and then you realize, and I knew we were home. Yeah. We had great natural sound around the plate and in the dugout, and nothing I said from that point on would be any better than what you saw and what you heard when he got to the plate, got to the dugout, and eventually had to be helped into the clubhouse.
I remember that. I'll never forget that moment. But, all right, back to the present. This game today, you said it's your first look in person of Boise State. What do you make? This league is so tough. They're, fans, everybody looking at them. Okay, those 2 tough losses on the road last week, and 8 losses now, not a lot of margin for error here for the NCAA tournament.
All right, I brought some homework.
All right, we love that.
So, I mean, if you're looking at Boise State's resume, they have some great wins, right?
Don't give away all your stuff for the
statement. Oh, come on, that's all right. I'm happy to dump it all on you. St. Mary's is a great win. At Nevada, at New Mexico, San Diego State, Colorado State here. They don't have any stinky losses, right? So look at their losses. Clemson is 25 in the net. Washington State's 36 in the net. Utah State, 27 in the net. Colorado State, 30 in the net. Yep. Butler's 49 in the net.
The UNLV one's the only one that
Virginia Tech, 61 in the net. Yeah, UNLV, but UNLV's 90 in the net, and they're playing really well.
Yep.
So my point is everybody's getting beat on the road. The best team, San Diego State, is 15 in the net. they can't win a road game against one of these other 5 teams that are in this pack of 6.
Yep. It's crazy. It really is. But the game today, Fresno's very depleted, correct? They got, maybe 6 scholarship players or something?
They're banged up. Yeah. Game time decision for a lot of them. But still, they played the UNLV game. They lost by 2, and they were without 4 guys. Yeah. So on any given night, you never know. This is do you like the Elvis movie?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
You need to see the Elvis movie. It's really good. But, Elvis had a saying once he started touring, was taking care of business, right?
Yeah.
This is a take care of business game for Boise State.
Yes.
And it is, I think, just looking at their schedule and who they have after this.
San Jose, Wyoming, and Air Force.
That's take care of business there. And then they get 2 opportunities to help their resume once they get into March.
Yeah, they're at home against Nevada and New Mexico, and then at San Diego State. The final 3 are going to be tough. But what do you like about this team?
I like the intangibles and the tangibles. Degenhart is a perfect example of what I like about this team. This is a guy who is filled with both tangibles and intangibles. He can play anywhere on the floor. When opposing coaches game plan against him, it's a headache. And I've talked to coaches about this because he can beat you in the post. He can beat you pick and pop. He can run the offense out front. He's like anywhere he fits in, and makes winning plays. He's a better player in the second half.
Yep.
He makes winning plays. Max Rice is another guy too. It's great to have a 3-point shooter. And I know he got off to a really slow start, but he's been outstanding since then. When you have a 3-point shooter who also rebounds like he does, also defends like he does, is 6'5", and is stronger and bigger than you think he is, and does little things, that's a huge boost. And so there's that. Abo Stanley's been a really nice addition as well. So those are kind of the guys that I like. I really want to see Andrew Meadow play.
Yeah,
I know he had some nice moments early.
Fan favorite.
He's great. I think the thing that is going to really be good for him, and he's obviously getting his feet wet this year, is he's practiced every day against Degenhart.
Oh yeah.
Not only that, he's watched Degenhart. He's watched him in the locker room. He's watched him on the floor. He's watched him in practice. So he's going to have an idea of, if I want to be successful here, that's the model that I have. That's the importance, I think, of any college basketball program, of having a program guy like a Degenhart or Max, someone who's come through 3-4 years, who knows exactly what is needed, who knows exactly what the routine is. And I think the teams that fall short in this day and age are the ones that are portal.
Yep.
Don't have someone that's a significant player that has been in the program 2-3 years, that is familiar with the coach, that is familiar with, this is right and this is wrong, and isn't afraid to tell a new player that, or the new player just sees it and doesn't have to be told.
I'd be pretty smart if I just sat with my friends on your card there and watch the game. You got some good nuggets on there. I'm looking over your shoulder. But final thing, I know you got a lot to get ready for the broadcast.
Yeah, this one. Don't say a bad word. That's
there you go.
Big one.
Yeah, there you go. You mentioned this league. A final thing for you. We saw today San Diego State got the 4 seed from the committee. A lot of people said that's a good sign for this league. Is 6 bids realistic here for the Mountain West?
No, I don't know that a Nevada team in the high 40s is going to make it. They're going to have to rise up. Even Boise State, I think, has work to do.
Definitely.
And I've listened to, and I follow you as well, your argument about expanding the schedule to 20 games.
Oh yeah,
and I'll contrast that with the most important thing is getting as many teams into the NCAA tournament. And I know that if you play 20, you're going to have 2 less. And maybe you want them to remove a couple of cupcakes.
Yes,
but
the non-D1s that don't count anyway. I just don't see the point.
I'm with you on that. So there's 2 points I'll make.
All right.
The proof is looking at what's happened this year, because all of those teams, especially Boise State, have done a terrific job of scheduling and going out and playing. I mean, like San Diego State wouldn't be 15 in the net if they didn't have a really good non-conference schedule.
Yeah.
The other thing is this. One tweak you could make is something the West Coast Conference does, and that is schedule good against good. So the best teams, St. Mary's and Gonzaga and probably San Francisco and Santa Clara, don't have to play twice against the teams at the bottom. Now, it's hard sometimes to pick that out.
I think they tried to do that, and then they didn't think Utah State was going to be any good. And now Utah State,
That's true.
They were picked 9th in the preseason, but they don't have to play in Reno. And to me, if you're deciding a true champion, Nevada's only lost 2 games at home all season. The biggest Utah State homer obviously is going to say, "Oh, well, we would have won that game anyway." But they don't. They should have lost to UNLV at UNLV. They don't have to host UNLV in Logan. They probably win that game, but you never know.
I get that.
And to me,
I get that.
And it's not just a Utah State thing. But if I'm Steve Ball or any of these coaches and they lose by 1 game to Utah State when Utah State didn't have to play in Reno, to me that just doesn't sit well. And I know some folks say, "Well, we care more about the seeding in the tournament than winning the league." But maybe that's San Diego State. But most of the teams in this league, if you win the regular season, you're still going to go and have a good seed in the tournament anyway.
I get that. My argument against that is you want to give your schools the most opportunities to schedule up.
Okay.
And in doing that, the schools have followed that game plan. And look, we're talking about 6 possible teams in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
That's the currency, literally and figuratively, of college basketball is getting to the tournament. They're going to need to play a couple cupcakes just to get things rolling and moving. And if you eliminate those 2 games, the games you're going to eliminate may not be the cupcake games. They may be the games that sit nicely on everybody's resume, the St. Mary's games.
Yeah, I get it.
All of that.
I don't nothing against the Vanguards, Western Oregons of the world, but I don't need.
Where is that, anyways?
I don't know. Vanguard. I thought it was like a sweeper company or something. But I get it. It might work this year. They might get 6 in, great. But I think if you're in a conference, you should want to crown a true conference champion. And when all it takes is to add 2 more games, let everybody play everybody. That's what I would personally like. I mean, Wyoming doesn't come here. You think Boise State wouldn't love to have a game at home against Wyoming?
Sure.
And you don't think that, Boise State doesn't go to UNLV, so it works again. Maybe that helps them. They don't have to go play at UNLV this year. I get it. Everybody has their different thing, but and you don't know who would win the game unless you play it. So that's why I say play everybody twice, but I understand the metrics are involved, and you know a lot more about this stuff than I do. So
no,
I'll take your word.
I love your passion, and it's a really valid argument. And I'm sure when they sit at the table and talk about it, that comes up. And then the argument about, hey, look, but we still need opportunities to schedule up. And to me, regardless of which way you go, I'm really pleased with this conference, the way the teams have reacted and have been aggressive scheduling. Look, anytime a team like Boise State or San Diego State or Utah State gets beat on the road, especially, they don't drop. Right? It's like you kind of stay right there. That's the mark of a really good conference, and I think that.
Don't get me started on the net ranking. Boise State doesn't win by 16 tonight. Their net goes down. It's crazy how that margin of victory and all that matters. But Rich, we appreciate your time, man.
All right, man.
Good luck on the call. Thanks so much, and we'll catch up with you again soon. Have you ever screwed up? I shouldn't jinx this, but have you ever screwed up which network you're calling the game for? Because I saw you've been going back and forth a little bit. I can't imagine. It's got to be tough.
Don't tell anyone.
That's got to be tough.
Look, sometimes you're about to blurt something out and you have to pause and
this is
remind
CBS
yourself.
Sports Network tonight.
Yeah,
correct?
and I do 99% of my games with them, and I love them. And I will not say MLB Network. I know that tonight.
Probably better saying that than some of the other stations. I hope I didn't jinx you. Rich, you're the best, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. There he is, Rich Waltz. We'll be listening on the call. Rich coming up here in about 35 minutes over on CBS Sports Network. We always appreciate Rich. Every time he's excited to have a Boise State game until he remembers that I'm going to ask him to come on. So it happens pretty much every time, but we appreciate Rich. 50-32. Looks like the blowout is on, which means Boise State could be back in a tie for first place before they even take the floor tonight. How about that? Boise State could be in first place here shortly. Thanks, Melinda, for the scoring update there. We got some other comments and things coming in we're going to get to. We appreciate all you guys for checking us out. Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show. LithiaFordBoise.com. Make sure you view that full inventory of vehicles. We're waiting for the Broncos to come back on the floor, so we'll thank a couple more sponsors real quick. I mentioned Lithia Ford, the title sponsor of our pre- and post-game shows. They got NIL deals with 5 student athletes from Boise State. They're huge supporters of the Broncos, huge supporters of Bronco Nation News. Return the favor. Purchase your next vehicle from Lithia Ford of Boise. You can view all the vehicles online. Go test drive them. Be on your way in a couple hours. LithiaFordBoise.com. And again, the Raines family loving our F-150. Drove that here today, by the way. So excited. and thankful for Lithia Ford of Boise, and hope you'll support them. Taco Bell, the Nicolason family, SON Management, we appreciate them as well. If you're looking for a job, how about this? Taco Bell will give you half your wages the very next day after your shift. So if you need quick cash, need a job, don't want to wait 3 weeks to get paid, check them out, TacoBellWorks.com. They've donated in the hundreds of thousands of dollars to student-athlete scholarships at Boise State. So they're helping the community. They're helping the fine folks here at Boise State. Check them out. And, oh, by the way, the food is pretty darn good as well. TacoBellWorks.com. Travis Hawks, the Blue and Orange Store, we appreciate them as well. If you're looking for some new Boise State gear, and, again, we're waiting for the Broncos to take the floor. We'll show you live warm-ups here. But the Blue and Orange Store, free shipping any order over $40. If you're in town, you can go to the Boise Town Square Mall. They're on the second floor next to Pro Image. Get all your Boise State gear, whether it's shirts, sweatshirts, NIL gear, bumper stickers, car flags. They have it all at the Blue and Orange Store. If you're looking for a job, transportation compliance service, TCS, transcomservice.com. They can help you out every step of the way to get into the trucking industry. All the DOT permits, overweight permits, everything that you need to get out there, towing that first load in no time. They can help you out at Transportation Compliance Service. We're checking your comments. We're taking your score predictions, your shout-outs. Where are you watching the game from today? Who's the furthest away watching the game tonight? We would love to give you a shout-out wherever you are watching today's game. Let us know. We'll give you a shout-out where you're watching the game from today. And we got some comments coming in, score predictions. 90-72. Benson Johnson in Provo, Utah. Appreciate you for checking us out. We got would love to have snagged one last week. Yeah, one win last week would have been huge, no doubt about it. We got 80-60. 90-72. I like both those. Jordan Morales is over there in Section 12, I believe. I don't know if he's over there yet or not. I believe he is. We see the fat heads and things over there. Section 12. Appreciate you guys. I see a couple of you with your phones up to your ears. Thank you guys for watching the show. We appreciate that. Cambridge, Massachusetts. The Drapers going far out today. They might be our winners for checking in from the furthest. Hunter, Salt Lake City, but moving permanently to Boise in 8 days. How about that? Hunter, that's awesome. Good for you. Kareem the Dream. He's at the gym, folks. I can just imagine Kareem the Dream, sleeveless shirt, needing more weight for the bench press, grunting with each rep. I can, Kareem the Dream is just probably getting after it at the gym. I'm sure there's a plethora of people standing around watching the show. Get after it, Kareem. We appreciate that. Ken Dick watching from Lebanon, Tennessee. Go Broncos. Appreciate you, Ken, for watching as well. Nice crowd filing in here. Joey Jenkins trying to fire up the crowd. It's Keaton is down there at Vegas, certainly, but unfortunately not at Circa. Come on, Keaton. Why are you why are you not coming? Come on. Why are you not at Circa? Come on, Keaton. You got to get over there. Kareem the Dream confirms he is putting on a show at the gym. We appreciate that. Sports Guy is watching from Minnesota. We appreciate you from watching there. While we're waiting for the Broncos to pop back out here, let's hear a little bit from Leon Rice about the bye week. We'll check on that Colorado State score as well. But while we wait for the Broncos to come back on the court, keep getting your score predictions in. We'll give a $20 Taco Bell gift card to whoever is closest to the score prediction for this one. But here's Leon Rice talking on Thursday about the bye week and recharging here for the stretch run.
It was a godsend. It came at such a good time for our guys. 11 games with basically 2 days to prepare. You always have to take a day off. On those days you got 3 days, and so there was never a day off. I mean, you're always prepping, you're always getting ready, and they came fast and furious. And just that's the way. There's always going to be pros and cons to your conference schedule, and to have the bye at the start, there's pros to it, but there's cons to it, and we lived through some of those cons toward the ends of this run. So it just, we took full advantage of it. Our guys, their minds are fresh for the stretch run. It's down the stretch we come.
How'd you approach it in terms of days off and work on yourself, but also work on your bodies and kind of mix that?
Yeah, you got to. Your mind and body is the most important thing in this time of year in February, because if your mind wears down, it can cause your body to wear down. It can cause injuries. It can cause, so that's priority one. And then it's not the same for everybody. What's good for maybe Tyson and Max might be different for some of the guys that aren't getting those heavy minutes. So we made it work for each guy individualized. And the thing that I tell them is you're pros. You guys know exactly what you need, and you have a say in your body management, your mind management. So if you need to go sit by the river for 3 hours and watch the water flow, that might be the best thing for you. If you need to come in here and get 45 minutes of good shooting, that might be so you got to trust that with some of the guys and mentor them on what they need to do. And I think these guys manage it great. And, we're excited to go for, like I said, down the stretch we come. It's the horse race on the final turn.
You mentioned this home stretch. I mean, what are your thoughts? The conference is so competitive. You guys could have 4, maybe 5, seeds in the tournament.
Maybe more.
Yeah, maybe more. What are your thoughts on this home stretch, and how big is every game down the home stretch?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because everyone talks about that, but as coaches and a player, every game we approach that way. We approach our November games that way, but it always does have they take on a different value and a different feel, which is weird because you played some really valuable games, and you don't think that St. Mary's game on a neutral court in December 5th was valuable, and so it does, but it does take on a more of a, because you don't have that many left, and everyone's talking about it now, it seems like, and so they maybe to the outside world take on a different value, but you got to stay in your process. You got to just keep doing what you do to get ready for those games in the right way, but understand that there's not many left and they're sacred.
Well, there he is, Leon Rice, speaking to the media. When we get done here, if you want to watch his full interview, it's up on our BNN YouTube channel. Broncos have retaken the floor. Fresno State also on the floor. Crowd filing in for this one. Colorado State, by the way, up 54-41. They're up 13 with 10 minutes to go. They're in Fort Collins. Appreciate Melinda for the score update, 54-41. Somebody asked about the refs. I actually don't know who they are yet. I didn't see the papers, so we're waiting for them to come out here, and I'll let you know. But typically on a Saturday, you don't get a great crew just because there's way more games on a Saturday than other games of the week. But you see the Broncos taking the floor here. Subscribe on YouTube if you can. We'd love to have you. YouTube, just hit the little subscribe button there in the corner. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitter, we'd ask you to start watching on YouTube. All of our press conference videos, all of our highlights from Jaden Finch, all of our shorts, everything gets put on the YouTube channel. So that's the first easiest spot, and that's the way we can monetize it the easiest as well, is there on YouTube. So if you're able to switch over to Facebook or from Facebook or Twitter to YouTube, we would love to have you on YouTube. I understand there's a huge crowd over at the James Kitchen and Bar, pre-gaming to head over here for the game. So you guys are smart, those of you that are over at the James. Awesome spot, the James Kitchen and Bar. Pre-game, post-game, handcrafted, high-quality premium cocktails, and the food menu is tremendous as well. Best pizza in town, I think, is at the James. So check them out, the James Kitchen and Bar right across the street from Albertson Stadium. We got some details coming about some cool things we'll be doing out there. We'll be out there pre- and post-game for the spring game again. We got some other cool stuff going on, so we appreciate our folks at the James. By the way, our winner, Roy Miller, for the private jet trip to San Diego. I talked to him on the phone yesterday. He lives in Idaho Falls. Roy Miller, and he's making the drive over for the trip. He's going to take his nephew. We're going to try to get him on the show next week sometime to introduce us to Roy Miller. But he's a big-time Boise State fan, and he is pumped to have won the trip, and we're excited that Roy Miller is our winner of the trip for two on the private jet to San Diego for the final game of the season. More details on that to come next week. But appreciate you guys. We're here on the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show. Again, lithiafordboise.com. You can view their full inventory of vehicles. You see the Broncos on the court warming up. You see the crowd filing in. These next two home games, you got to win, and frankly, you got to win big. I hate to, phrase it that way, but the spread is 16. The spread on Ken Palm is 14. So You got to win this game by more than 14. Help your metrics. You'd love to blow them out and win by 30 if you could. But anything over 14 certainly will help the computer metrics in a game like this. Obviously, you just have to win. That's the bottom line. You win the game, you move on. But if you're able to win this game by a large margin, certainly that would help from a standpoint of Boise State needing to do some things with the computer metrics here. You're not in a terrible spot with the metrics, but you got to win these games. You got to win them rather easily. Certainly these next 2 home games, but really these next 4. And you got all these teams beating up on each other. As we said, Utah State's about to lose most likely, so Boise State's going to be back in a tie for first place. And then, San Diego State and Utah State play on Tuesday. So that's another game where one of those teams is going to lose. New Mexico still has to go to Utah State. So, if you're Boise State and you can just find a way to win these next 4 games, you're going to be in no worse than a tie for first place because you're going to be there here in the next 10 minutes. So all you got to do if you're Boise State is just win these 4 games, get some momentum, be 20-8 going into your final 3-game stretch, and then you try to win 2 of those 3, and you're in a golden position. So I know the back-to-back losses and the way it happened may have got a couple folks nervous or a little worried. And yes, the margin for error now is not very big, but this was always the stretch of the season we were looking at where we said, hey, if Boise State can just take care of business in this stretch and kind of hold serve and at least hang on and not totally be out of it before they got here, which they're not, they're now in a position where they should win the next 4. Hopefully that Wyoming game is going to be very sneaky and very tricky and tough, but overall you win your next 4, and then you find a way to win those 2 home games against New Mexico and San Diego State, and you are 100% locked, set. You're in the tournament. So I still think Boise State's in a pretty good spot, but these are the kind of games you have to take advantage of, and you have to win these games. And frankly, a home game against a Fresno State team with 6 scholarship players, they've literally got 8 players warming up right now. I mean, they look like they have about half the team that Boise State does. So this is certainly a game that we got Greg Nixon. Greg Nixon is the lead official here today. Don't recognize the other 2. Greg Nixon's a guy that I say looks like Liam Neeson. We'll see, but he's a solid ref, top 25 at Ken Palm. I don't recognize the other 2, but again, when it's a game with a top team and not a top team, and a game that it is on TV, which helps a little with the crew, but there's 100 and something games today, so it is what it is. It's Keaton is asking about the Fresno bigs. Both 7-footers are out. They've got one freshman who's a big guy that came in against UNLV. But both, let me see if I can remember his name here. Chase Courtney, I believe who it is. He's that's a 6'10 junior forward. I thought he was a freshman. But Pierre Geneste Jr. is out. And then the other big guy, Eduardo Andre, is out too. Their big 7-footers are both out tonight. So, no, those guys are out. San Diego State, the toughest remaining game. Yeah, that's on the road, so that certainly is going to be a tough one on the road in San Diego. You'd like to I haven't seen the San Diego State score change in a while. I don't know if anybody has an update on that. I'll go back to the Mountain West here and see if that's updated. That score is now 61-46 with 8 minutes to go. Colorado State is up 15, so before Boise State tips off, they're going to be back in first place, at least in a tie, and I know they won't have the number 1 seed because they got swept by Utah State. That one home Utah State loss in overtime where they had it is really going to hurt, I think, when it comes down to it in terms of the tiebreakers and things. That was certainly a game Boise State could have won, should have won, and pretty much had won and just couldn't make a free throw. So that was a tough one for Boise State, but they're still in a good spot, and again, going to be tied for first place. Let those teams keep beating up on each other. You keep winning your next 4 games, and then you're in a good spot going into the final 3 games of the regular season. So appreciate you guys for checking us out. We're going to jump out here so they can get ready for the national anthem. Don't forget about our golf tournament on May 31st. Make sure you join us for that. Send me an email if you played last year, and I'll save you a spot. May 31st is our golf tournament out at Timberstone Golf Course. We'd love to have you join us for that. And we're less than 4 weeks away. We're barely over 3 weeks away from going to Vegas for the Mountain West Tournament. Make sure you make plans to join KTIK and Bronco Nation News. Friday, March 15th, semi-final Friday. We'll be out at the pool all day for the pool party. Make sure you join us. Free entry if you email me an RSVP, rains@bronconationnews.com. We'll get you on their RSVP list. Rains@bronconationnews.com. and we will get you on the RSVP list for the pool party. And again, that's $40, $50 cover charge. We'll take that off, and it is free if you email me and let me know that you're coming. So that's going to be a lot of fun for the pool party. Cannot wait for that. We got a lot of cool ideas and things in store for that. But again, about 15 minutes away, Boise State and Fresno State. Big one for the Broncos here as they look to take care of business at home, get some momentum rolling for the stretch run here. And we'll discuss it all in the post-game show. Make sure you come back about 30 minutes after the game, so about 8 o'clock or so. Get your kids to bed, go grab another Cutwater, and we'll do our interviews after the game. We'll come back with an hour-long post-game show about 8 o'clock tonight. So once the game's over, give us about 30 minutes, and we'll be back with the post-game show. We'll take your thoughts, your comments in the ICCU YouTube chat. We'll hear from Leon Rice and some players. And looking forward to talking to you guys about hopefully a nice Boise State win here. So as Hunter says, please click like on the video down there at the bottom. Hit subscribe to our channel. We'd love to add to our channel here. We would really appreciate your help. And again, Boise State, Fresno State coming up. CBS Sports Network here in about 10 minutes. We'll talk to you on the Lithia Ford of Boise postgame show afterwards. Go subscribe. Enjoy the game. Grab a Cutwater, and we'll talk to you guys afterwards. Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com.